Welcome to my channel. My name is Paige. If you have never been here before, I make mostly bookish content. I also make bullet journal videos, which are so much fun to make, and I've thrown in a few lifestyle videos here or there, but mostly it's all bookish content. So if you click on this, I am expecting that you want to see what I will be reading in January, and you know, I want to figure this out too. So every month I try and do a TBR jar game where I pull some prompts and I pick my reads for the month based on those prompts, and I have tried to switch a few things up, but at the core it's going to be the same TBR jar game that I've been playing for a couple of years now. I will also link the playlist right here if you want to watch previous TBR jar videos to know how I play, but mostly I pick 4 prompts every month and match my books to those prompts and try and read them, and there are some punishments at the end of the month if I don't get them, but we're starting fresh. It's a new year. No punishments are happening right now. Before I tell you about any changes that I made to the TBR game, I'm going to tell you about the 2 books that I do need to read in January, and I'm hoping I can fit them into the prompt somewhere. So first up, we have for my book club, the Story Continue book club. I host it with my friend Serena at Read the Riot. We are going to be reading The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. So our book club really focuses on retellings and like fandom elements, so books that may have been fan fiction or retellings of certain stories that we figure are kind of like a fan fiction in their own right. So it's mostly retellings that we are reading, and this one is a retelling of, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it Briseis from the story of Achilles and Patroclus? I'm gonna be so real that I don't know a lot of Greek mythology, so I could be very wrong, but I know that she was in A Song of Achilles, and it's a story from her perspective and what she went through, and we voted on it last month and we are super excited to get to this one. We haven't figured out the rest of quarter 1 yet, but it's more than likely going to be retellings and other fandom like elements where maybe the author once wrote a fan fiction and turned it into a novel. This was our pick from January of last year, so if you would be interested in joining that book club with us, I have the link to the Discord in the description and we would love to have you over there. But for the second book that I need to read this month is going to be Sense and Sensibility. So I am taking part of a 12 in 12 readathon where we are trying to read 12 different classics in the 12 months of the year. There are some buddy reads that are already scheduled out, so I'll know which books I'm going to be reading, but the January picks weren't really speaking to me, so I decided to go on my own route and read Sense and Sensibility. I want to read more Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice a while ago, and I really enjoyed it, and I just haven't picked up any of her other books, so I'm going to start off with, I believe this was her first one, or if not, one of the first books that she did published. So I'm going to start there, and then move on throughout the month. So I will also link the Discord to that in the description if I have an invite link to it, and you can join if you want to also read some classics in 2023. But let's get into the changes. This year I decided to change up a few things because I was feeling a little bit stagnant with my TBR jars. I wasn't really wanting to film them anymore, so I wanted to give them a fresh look and also throw in a different element to it. So I did have to make new cards, and I was going to print them. I have new prompts and everything, but my printer decided that it does not take cardstock anymore, and it especially does not take cardstock double-sided. So I had to hand cut all of these cards, and then I had to stamp on all of these cards, and then I had to hand write all of these prompts onto these cards. So they're not as pretty as I anticipated them looking, but they are something. And I also decided that I needed to bring in my D&D dice. I bought these to play D&D with my friends, and I have yet to use them because we don't meet as frequently as we thought we would. So I decided that for this year, before every prompt draw, I am going to roll a D8, and that's going to tell me between 1 and 8 books in the month. But I feel like 1, 2, or 3 books in a month is just not fun. So if I do end up rolling 1, 2, or 3, I have to roll a D4 as well to see how many extra books that I need to read in the month. So I went ahead and rolled for this month. And I got a 4, which is fine, but I always do 4 prompts every single month, so I decided to switch things up and I rolled that D4 and I got a 3, which is okay. So I feel like 7 prompts in the month of January is totally fine, and it gives you a look at more of the prompts that I have in my TBR jar deck. So let's take a look at prompt number 1. I pulled a paranormal or horror for that one, and I recently just purchased a lot of books and they are coming in the mail, and one of them from that is Sundial by Catriona. And could I tell you what this book is about? Absolutely not. But I know that people were reading it last year because it was a horror, and a lot of people were picking it up in October, and I love the cover of it. So that is going to be my first pick. Is it wise to go into a horror knowing absolutely nothing about it? No, but I'm going to do it anyway. So that is prompt number 1 completed. Let's take a look at number 2. So I pulled a gifted book, which is perfect because my lovely, precious, amazing friends were sending me books for Christmas, and Marley decided to send me Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, and I've been wanting to read this for so long. It has been on my wish list for so long, and I don't know why I haven't picked this one up. I genuinely don't know why. I see it and I say I should buy that, and then I never did. So I'm going to be reading this one. This one is a sapphic romance between Darcy and Elle, and it looks like they got set up on a blind date and it did not go well. But Darcy's brother was the one who set them up, and she does not want to tell her brother that it did not go well so that he can get off her back. So they end up fake dating after this disastrous first date, and it looks like they probably might fall in love and realize that the first date wasn't so bad after all. So I'm so excited to read this one. Genuinely have been wanting to read this for so long, so thank you so much, Marley, for getting this one for me. A 5-star prediction was the next prompt, and I am so excited to finally get my hands on A Taste of Gold and Iron. So this one looks like it is a male-male romance between a prince and his bodyguard, and the prince is going out to investigate some break-ins that are happening, and he seems to have some magical powers that are related to metals. And you know what metal powers remind me of? Mistborn. So that makes me very, very happy, and I'm excited to get to this one. I've heard good things about it. I haven't heard a lot about it though, so I am kind of going in pretty blind. So I'm hoping that I'm going to love it, but just based on this cover, I feel like it's going to be a 5-star. Next up, we have a book under 300 pages, which is perfect because we are reading 7 books in the month, and it would be nice to read some books much quicker. So I decided that I need to go with In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. This is the 4th book in the Wayward Children series, and I have been having a lot of fun with these books. They are quick, easy reads, and I believe that the 8th book comes out this month, so I figured might as well try and catch up in the series so that I can read the newest book when it comes out. But what is this one about? Looks like we're following a character named Lundy who is living in a life that she doesn't really like, and she finds a doorway and is able to go into a world that might match up for her likes and wants in her life. So I'm excited to get to go into another world. I feel like we've only gotten to go into 1 so far. That was book 2, I believe, and I want to see more of these worlds that these characters are going into, and I want to see their lives there. So I'm super duper excited to get to this one. Number 5 ended up being a random color generator. I'm telling you guys, these are coming back to haunt me. I think I went from having 6 of them in my previous TBR jar game to whittling it down to only 3 because I felt like that would be easier and I would be less likely to get them. But here we are, January, getting another one of these generators. But I have the color generator up, and we are going to click after this one. It says Pastel Violet, and I'm going to generate right now to Graphite Gray. Okay, seems like an easy color to match. So this one made it on to my October TBR, and I really wanted to read it, but I ran out of time and I just haven't really been in the mood to pick up a lot of different books, but I want to read this so bad, and that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyr Muir. And all this book says is the Emperor needs necromancers. The 9th necromancer needs a swordsman. Gideon has a sword, some dirty magazines, and no more time for undead nonsense. So I'm really going to go into this one blind, but I have heard amazing things about this book. I have a feeling that this could also be another 5-star read for me. I am just so excited to finally get to this one, and I need to prioritize this like very soon on in the month so that I can actually say that I have read this book, because I just want to, and I want to get to the rest of the series. It just sounds so good. It sounds so fun, and I need to pick it up immediately. I'm so excited that I got this color. So next up, we got a 10-second pick, and I need to make sure that I am ready for these 10 seconds. So I have my timer up. I am going to record it so you can see the time in real time with me. So I'm clicking at 3, 2, 1, recording. Okay, we have 10 seconds to pick a book. I haven't really looked at my shelves. I just kind of threw some books on there in the past couple of days, so I don't know what I want to read yet. All right, let's do this. Okay, made it. So I really didn't know what I wanted to pick, so it was really hard for me because there were some books that I definitely want to get to, but they looked really long. So I ended up grabbing The Bodyguard by Katherine. My mom ended up reading this in a day, and she claims that she's not a very fast reader, so I know that I will be able to read this one really, really quickly. And I also think the audiobook is on Scribd, and it's like 9 hours, so this definitely seems like an easy read. And from what I remember when I picked this book out for my mom in this video, it is about a female bodyguard who is looking out for, I believe he's a sports player of some kind, and he has to go back to visit his family for whatever reason, but doesn't want them to know that he has a bodyguard, so they end up fake dating. And from what my mom said about the book and how she was reacting, she said that it is actually so hilarious, and she had so much fun reading this one. So I feel like it's a light-hearted, cutesy bodyguard romance, and that just sounds exactly like something I would love. So I am excited to get to this one, and I'm glad that it's also really short. Our final pull was BIPOC, and I decided to go with another short read, which is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. I know that people were reading this a long time ago and were really enjoying it, and I think I recently purchased it last year, or towards the end of last year. So I'm excited to get to this one. I believe it's about like monsters or something, and I don't really want to know too much going into it because it is so short, and I just know that people really loved it. They were giving it 4 or 5 stars, so I have to get to it. And it's short, which means that my January reading should be pretty easy. So these are the books that I will be reading in January. These are the 6 that I currently have, and then 1 is coming in the mail. And I am super duper excited for this TBR. I feel like it should be pretty easy, and I know a lot of these have audiobooks too that are on Hoopla and Scribd, so that will make it a lot easier for me to read these books. But for everybody who's seen my TBR jars before, let me know if you like this style of picking my prompts, or if you want me to actually pull them out of the jar like I used to. I can do either. I just thought that this would be a fun setup to show you what I am rolling and whatnot. So give me any feedback you have so that we can make this more of an interactive TBR jar throughout the years. And if you have any prompt ideas, leave them in the comments as well, because I tried to make as many new ones as I could, but I feel like I leaned on some of my old ones pretty heavily. I'm going to end this video here though. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to talk to me about books, I have my Instagram and Discord linked in the description, and I will see you in my next video, which should be out very, very shortly. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!